Hey guys, Dave here. Just want to do a quick video update of this trade I have going in Roku. This is a trade that I started yesterday. Basically, when I pulled up the chart, I know a couple of people are counting this differently. They're counting this um, as they're counting this correction as a second wave lower. And the count looks like this, where we have a small wave 1 and 2, 3 over here, 4 and 5 over here. The reason I don't like this is because the relationship in time and price between between waves 2 and 4, they're just not proportional. I don't like the way it looks, and it makes it seem as if uh, this correction here is one big part of an A, B, and C. So I would prefer, even if it's wrong, to say that this is an ongoing impulse higher. Uh, Here we go, wave 3. We completed wave 4 and we're moving higher in 5. Whether that's right or wrong, it really doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is I'm able to count this correction here very clearly. And so whether the entire correction is wave A or W, and this is this move that we're currently working in is some sort of X or B, and then we're going to go lower, really doesn't matter to me because what I was able to identify was a 3 as a flat correction is a 3, 3 and a 5. Particularly this 5-wave structure is what prompted me to enter into a trade. So zooming in, we can see here, and the trade was initiated based off of a 61% retracement of this first supposed wave 1 or A higher. Let's do that real quick, just so that you can see the entry and the trade. Actually, it's right here. It's already here. Okay, so my entry was at 118.58. And we know one of the rules of Elliott wave is wave 2 cannot retrace more than 100% of wave 1. So if this is wave 1, the move lower would invalidate it. Therefore, that's where I put my stop. So now that we've gone higher, Roku is up 4% on the day, which is nice because if you look at the SPY, the DIA, the IWM, the QQQs, they're slightly down to negative. So we're definitely in an outperforming sector here for whatever reason. Perhaps this is part of a move higher in anticipation of earnings and then, sell the news, right? So regardless, fundamental analysis gets me in trouble more often than not. This was a perfect setup for me. And so now that I'm at 4% off my entry point, I can now basically, and I have on my account, on my trading account, I've moved this stop to break even. So I'm no longer able to lose money on this trade. But what I want to do a little bit is I want to dissect the exit point because, I'm not 100% convinced that this is going to go above 135. And the reason for that is if we zoom way out, let's go over to a 4-hour chart, you're going to see this chop here, this consolidation. And you can see I've made a blue line here to indicate support and resistance. It's pretty thick, and if I just throw up a volume profile, I'm pretty sure there's a whole lot of trading here, which means there's a whole lot of resistance here, which is why Roku stopped right just above 130, 135 or so. So I don't think it's going to be smooth sailing into a fifth wave. If it does, great, amazing. But if it doesn't, well, then I need to look into a way to secure some profit and not just let a winner turn into a loser. So This is the bigger picture here. I see a lot of resistance between 135 and really the blue line, which is 127.58, give or take. So what I like to do is, let's go back to the very short 5-minute chart here, and let's look at this impulse wave. So what I'll do is I'll take this pattern and I'll look at it in a vacuum and completely ignoring the longer term chart because the longer term chart really is up to interpretation. So what I'll do is I'll look at this impulse wave, I'll draw its retracements. Basically, I'm looking for a reason to get out. Okay, so I'm throwing up the 618. We can see that we're almost there. So the question is this resistance? Is this its stopping point? Or I also see a gap here right at my resistance line. You know, are we going to stop here? Are we going to stop here? Or are we going to stop at the upper line of this trend line of this parallel channel? Okay, so I'll do it like so. Throw that up, and you can see we've identified just based off of that alone. I've got 3 levels where I'm potentially able to get out. So this would be 1, here would be a 2nd, and this would be a 3rd. Now, I want to see how price behaves on these resistance levels. You know, another simple analysis we can do is if this is not a 1, 2, what if this is A, B, C? So usually wave A equals C, or rather wave C equals A, right? So I'll throw the 100% retracement. And look at that. Okay, so we're stopping right at that. So that would be our first initial level. So if that's the case, then I want to start to zoom in a little further and try to identify a completed 5-wave move in C. So I can clearly see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even though it's not, there's chop here. The way I like to sometimes count this is a sharp move followed by some sort of correction, a sharp move followed by another consolidation correction followed by another move. So there's my essential 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. What is this? I don't know. Is this a 1 A, B, C, 2? And we've completed 3. We're gonna chop here in 4 and then move higher in 5, possibly. That's what I'm hoping for. I think what's probably prudent, because I'm doing this on the fly, I really haven't disseminated any of my thoughts here. I'm just rambling on. I should probably move my stop to about 120, 120.50, let's just call it that, and secure a little bit of profit. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to leave it there just so that we can all comment and discuss this, and perhaps you guys can illuminate me as to something that I'm missing. So yeah, there it is.